Freedom Come Rain is a Jamaican Christian newspaper. One headline immediately caught my attention, and I knew I would be making a response to it. The thesis of this article, of course, is that Jamaica is not homophobic, and I have thoughts. The first thing I want to say is that the journalist Nadine Wilson-Harris uses what seems to me like othering language when referring to the LGBT community. She uses the words agenda and lobby, which often, and I would say usually, have negative connotations in the English language. And of course, lifestyles. It's always LGBT lifestyles.
This is not the only time we get this sort of false contrast. I mean, we say things. We say, heterosexual people, we talk about relationships. Homosexual people, we talk about sex. We say heterosexual people have lives. Homosexual people have lifestyles.
This article seems to be a response to a report by UK and Canadian advocacy groups that, interestingly, Wilson-Harris does not name in the article. The report is called A Caribbean Outlier, Repeal Anti-LGBTQI+ Laws in Jamaica, and it's by the Rainbow Railroad and Human Dignity Trust. But what exactly is the motivation for Wilson-Harris's article? Why write it? She answers that question in the very opening paragraph, and I quote, "A recent report chastising the Jamaican government for not repealing the buggery law in the interests of the LGBTQI population is the latest in a series of attempts by developed countries to influence local policies and perpetuate what has been described by Jamaicans as a lie." She ends the article with what I can only interpret as a point of pride. Jamaica, she says, is one of 6 countries in the Americas that have not bowed to international pressure. In case you don't know, the buggery law is explained by Human Dignity Trust as follows. Same-sex sexual activity is prohibited under the Offences Against the Person Act, 1864, which criminalizes the acts of buggery and gross indecency. This law carries a maximum penalty of 10 years imprisonment with hard labor. Only men are criminalized under this law. There are Jamaican Christians, such as the people who run Freedom Come Rain, who believe that this law should remain on the books. A short blurb on the page before Wilson-Harris's article reads, "Should we be forced to accept and legitimize a lifestyle that is clearly an aberration? Who remembers the fire and brimstone of Sodom and Gomorrah? Can we afford God's wrath again?" Here's the interesting thing to me. Homosexual activity is not the only sinful sexual act described in the Bible. There is fornication and adultery, for example. Those are not illegal in Jamaica, and yet I don't see anyone making a big deal about them, worrying that them being legal is so terrible a thing. Worship of other gods is also, I should think, sinful according to the Bible. Should Hinduism and Islam be made illegal? What about Rastafari? Or what about other branches of Christianity that do things that Freedom Come Rain would not approve of? Other people existing is not so-called acceptance and legitimization. It's just other people existing. You don't have to approve. Just let them be. The same way they allow you to just be. To bolster her point, Wilson-Harris quotes 3 people. Dr. Wayne West, chairman of the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, former police commissioner Les Green, and Dr. Daniel Thomas, president of the Love March movement. West says that a strategy used by the LGBT community is to claim that they are victims, and that the reason one must accept their lifestyles is because it puts them at risk of physical injury, violence, and death. And that is not true. End quote. Green adds, "I think Jamaica is far more tolerant than the public hype. There is a vibrant community in Jamaica, and there isn't the sort of backlash that some people say." He goes on to say, "It's just the hype from some who claim Jamaica is very anti-homosexual. But the reality is far from that. There are many homosexuals who live and work freely in Jamaica." Thomas adds, "I have not seen evidence that suggests that homosexuals suffer violence at a higher rate than straight individuals." As a friend of mine said though, one voice is absent from this article. The voice of the LGBTQIA+ community. My community. What's interesting too is that there isn't really an explanation of what homophobia is. Towards the end of the article, Wilson-Harris writes, LGBT rights activists claim that gay Jamaicans struggle to access jobs, medical care, education, and housing. Claim. And this article is simply a counterclaim to that. So before I add my voice to this, what is homophobia? One definition is dislike of or prejudice against gay people. Another is aversion or hostility to, disdain for, or fear of gay sexual orientation or gay people. Does this exist in Jamaica? Let me tell you my experience. I grew up hearing music on the radio and on TV that calls for the violent death of people like me. I have had to deal with anti-gay slurs tossed around like they're nothing. I have had soldiers accost me, almost locking me up for making the very stupid mistake of kissing a man in public. I have had people threaten me with gunshot sounds as I am walking on the road, saying that I should die. I have had rocks tossed at me for being gay. I have had a friend tell me that someone tossed a rock at him that hit him in the back because he is gay. I have had someone from the church I attended tell me that his father said he would kill him if he, this teenage boy, ever turned out gay. I have had my family refuse to allow me to carry my boyfriend or even friends over, while my straight siblings could. But enough about me. Let me share what others from Jamaica, some lucky ones who managed to escape via the Rainbow Railroad, had to say.
I was a victim of violence in Jamaica.
Police do not like gay people. The politician, the church.
It was very hard, from being a battyman to a fish, to a fag, to even worse derogatory things.
I have been beaten by a gang of boys just because I was dating a butch lesbian girl.
A man come up on me. He was near the cut in my face. I get 38 stitches.
Every day I just wake up and feel like my life is at risk. If I can go to a certain community and come back alive, it's always a constant thought.
I was chased more than 3 times, very close to death.
People threw stone at me. Dead batty boy if dead.
A group of my friends were in a park and we were talking, and some guys overheard our conversation, and then they said, oh, these guys are some battyman, and they started to chase us down and throwing stone at us. Well, safety, I had to run. Safety wasn't a protection from the police. I just have to find my way back home.
But when I look back, I saw some guys. I know I'll have to run for it.
And a man attacked me and threw acid on me. And I go to the Newkinson police station, make a statement, and there's no police look at me. They say, everybody boy, leave the station. And that day, I tell myself I have to leave Jamaica. If I stay in Jamaica, I want to die.
So, is Jamaica homophobic? Is Jamaica anti-LGBT? You tell me.